Yeah, you saw that correctly. It took me exactly one button press and I knocked down one of the hardest bosses, arguably in the base game, to his second phase in just one button press. At this point, making build videos is pretty much over for me because this is hands down one of the strongest builds in the entire game. It has trivialized almost the entire DLC, give or take a couple bosses here or there that are just too fast to let me let this incantation off. If you're struggling with the game in any way, just replicate this build and Elden Ring becomes easy. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys exactly what you need. I'm probably not going to talk much this video because the gameplay does all the talking here for you. Okay, so in your main hand, you're going to want to have the Erdtree seal equipped. The reason being is because it scales with faith, and all the incantations that you're going to be using for this build revolve around faith-based incantations. In your offhand, you're going to want the gravel stone seal and upgrade it all the way. This will boost your dragon cult incantations. These two seals are primarily what you're going to be using for any kind of damage. However, if there are smaller enemies who are really quick, I recommend having some kind of a sword in your offhand as well, just as a backup. I like the Dragon Hunter's Great Katana because it honestly just goes with the aesthetic of this build, but also it's pretty strong, so go ahead and equip that if that's what you're into. As far as armor goes for this build, you're not going to have anything equipped because what we're going to be using is the Priestess Heart. What this does is it'll actually transform you into this malformed dragon creature, and what it does is that it boosts your dragon cult incantations. For talismans, we're going to start with the Phlox Canvas talisman, as this will greatly raise the potency of any incantations that you cast. Next talisman you want is the Radagon Icon, as this will shorten your spell casting time. The third talisman you can use is really up to you. I like to take advantage of the Blue Dancer charm because it raises attack power when you have a lower equip load, and being that you're not actually wearing any armor, you're going to have this constant buff regardless. And the last talisman you want equipped is the Lightning Scorpion charm, as this will raise your lightning attack, which will synergize with pretty much all the incantations we'll be using, which revolve around dragon lightning. And then for your Flask of Wondrous Physic, you can use the Lightning Shrouding Crack tier, as this will increase your lightning attacks. And then I also like to use the Cerulean Hidden tier, as it will pretty much negate any FP usage for a short amount of time. And as you saw with the very beginning of the video with Malekith, you can get this spell off pretty much at the beginning of almost every boss fight without using any FP. So the way this build works, essentially if you're fighting smaller enemies, just go ahead and use whatever offhand weapon you have, whether it be your sword, or you can use an incantation such as the Knight's Lightning Spear. That'll pretty much just one-shot everything a bit faster. The spell you saw me use and continue use with this gameplay is the Ancient Dragon's Lightning Strike, where it hails down this flurry of red lightning, which essentially decimates everything within its area multiple times. This is the primary incantation that you'll be using with this build, as it's the one that does the most damage. However, also having something like I mentioned a second ago, like Knight's Lightning Spear, can be handy if you're trying to just throw off a spell really quick that does a decent amount of damage. There are a few bosses in the game, primarily in the DLC, where it's kind of hard to get the Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike incantation off right away because it does take a second to charge. However, if you can get it off, like I said, it'll pretty much trivialize every single enemy in the game. There's really nothing else I can say, as much as I may want to. If you have any recommendations or anything that could possibly make this build any better or be a truly one-shot kill build, please let me know in the comments. Hopefully this build was helpful to you, and thank you so much for watching.